Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us. This is Miguel Antonio Barragan, aka Fight Fiend Migs, joined as always by my co-host Andrew. Don't get it twisted, Lapache, and this is the Mad Boxing Show, or Mad Boxing for short. Thank you once more for joining us. All right, well, we're recording this on a Sunday evening, roughly 24 hours removed from quite the upset that we're going to talk about. That's going to be the primary story, of course, of today. In addition to other things. But of course, as you guys already know, unfortunately, Tim Tszyu suffered a loss yesterday that was pretty unexpected, well, at least some of us, most of us, I should say. Of course, now everybody is coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, you should have known, you should have known. Everybody from like, Terrence Crawford to even Andre Berto saying like that this was your good idea. Like, where were you before then? Anyway, before we get into all of that stuff, because there's plenty to talk about, not just that, but also it was PBC's first free show on Amazon Prime, which is kind of a big deal, right? We're going to go over that and the fight card and the production and all that good stuff, give it a good grade, including the commentaries. Keith Thurman on the mic. I don't know about that, but we can talk about that a little bit later on. Of course, amongst other things, including Mr. Eddie Hearn and Turkey Ali, can I pronounce his name? Allah
Ali
Sheikh.
Sheik. Ali
Allah
Sheik.
His Excellency.
Ali
That's why I
Sheik.
just say His Excellency, because it's an English word, so I can pronounce that a lot easier. But we can talk about the separation, the termination of their contract. We can talk about that, of course, amongst other things. But before we get into all of that, because we can go on and on about that stuff alone, Andrew, what's happening, dude? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Miguel? Um, it's a good weekend. Raiders lost, Niners lost. So 50-50 on the NFL. Um, Niners found out that it's pretty hard to play in the AFC West, I believe now.
Hmm.
Two Super Bowl losses and three ass whoopings in the regular season. Miguel, you think they know that the Chiefs are hard now? Just a little, huh?
They might got the idea now, yeah.
They might be respecting that guy now, huh? Yeah, they took another defeat to the AFC West. So, and Shanahan, that's gonna be his legacy is Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So that makes me feel better. Thank you, Chiefs, for putting an end to that argument versus us Raider Niner fans. But sucks for what happened yesterday. Um, I'm not one of those guys. I just think sometimes you get exposed, Miguel. And he's had flaws. Maybe they got exposed last night. Big time. Tough defeat. Tough defeat that he took. So definitely doing better than Zoo today.
Mm.
Um, I can tell you that. So, yep. Here we go. Just stood home. I was a mechanic this week.
Oh shit. Okay.
I had to do the
On your daughter's
brakes.
car.
No, my car
Oh, okay,
on
gotcha.
the Infinity. I had to do the brakes.
Yeah,
So,
just switch
yeah.
out the brake pads. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's not too bad. Is it not complicated? Because I know some
No, it's
cars.
not at all.
All
It's
right,
I'm
cool.
I'm trying to sound
Thank
way more mechanical than I
you.
am.
Well, I mean, dude, years ago, my folks bought a '99 Kia Sophia, and the damn brakes on that shit was, dude, it had so
You're
many
right.
extra springs. I'm
You're
like, and I'm not by any stretch of mechanic, but I can certainly, switch out some
right.
fucking, change some oil and stuff like that, right? The typical stuff. And just like me and my dad were scratching our heads, we're like, where the fuck is this little spring go? Like, dude, it was such a pain in the ass changing brakes on a goddamn '99 Kia Sophia. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like some cars are just overcomplicated and some aren't. So we'll just say for the sake of argument, it was difficult and you figured it out because
Yeah, we
makes it a
did
lot.
good.
There you go. You put on the mechanic, hat. Like, ma'am, you also need to change your filters, and also just like, whoa, you're my husband. What the fuck? Well, all right. Well, that's good news. We're going to talk about this a little bit later on, but one of Andrew's other bets are coming up this weekend with Prograis and Catterall on Saturday. So we're going to just briefly touch on that, of course. But that's going to be one of the other fights on the parlay. Which is the other one? Is it Fury and Usyk, or which one was what is the last one?
Yeah, we're getting down to Taylor and Serrano,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
um, and then Fury Usyk. Yeah, I only got three left, dude. I'm four for
Oh,
four. I got three left. So, but we're
damn.
getting down to the hard ones again. Yeah, I picked some. I guess you would call them underdogs. They were all very close though.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, I think the next three fights, bro. They didn't even have Tyson a favorite. He's an
No, well,
underdog.
yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
26
I
years old.
don't know why though, Miguel. Why when Tyson was doing so good before all the clowning around?
Mm.
It's so weird because damn, I felt like Tyson Fury was controlling that fight before that, what, fifth round or so, where he just gets his bell rang
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
that's
never comes back.
Yeah, it just he was doing the thing with like with the crowd, right? Clearly, he must have thought that things were going his way, and from the outside, it certainly looked
It
like it was
looked
going his
like it
way. He
was.
just my dad is convinced that he's not gonna do that shit again. Watch, he's gonna win this time. It's like, all right, I hope so. He shouldn't have done that
I
to
hope
begin with.
so.
We're talking about fucking Usyk here, but let's on that one, he's the wait, hold on. So you got
Underdog.
or you said, oh, okay, so Fury's underdog there, and
And then
then
Serrano is the underdog to Katie Taylor.
in the
Remember?
rematch.
And that was a close fight. That was an
Yep.
extremely close fight. But they
Mhm.
have Serrano the underdog again. And then, of course, Prograis is going to be the underdog to Catterall.
Mhm.
Basically, I'm just going off the American ties for Prograis there. He's better resume, better background. Hoping
Yeah.
he got one fight in him. One fight, Miguel.
Well, one of the things that you've mentioned countless times before is that when these English fighters are over there fighting, they're doing great. Then they come here, and they fight American fighters. Now, granted, the fight is actually taking place over there, but my
Right.
point is that he's fighting, an American fighter who, former title challenger himself, and he's kind of been at the top at least one or two for some time already. So that's the point. So hey.
Yeah.
Who knows how that
Yeah.
and like you mentioned, he's a barely underdog. So definitely looking forward to that one. I wanted to
It's
toss
an
that in here
excellent
real
fight.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's happening this Saturday. We'll make sure to remind you guys this Saturday too before we finish the show. Well, we can start off by like I always have to always tip my hat to our good buddy out in Australia, Sam Navajera, who was a good fan of ours, great friend. Sometimes it sucks when we have to talk about these Australian fighters that get beat the shit up. I guess they still got Paro next, right? We still got Paro. He's still a belt holder, right? So he's still up there. But Tim Tszyu unfortunately suffered his second loss in a row last night, Saturday night, to, if I can pronounce his name, Bakram Murtazaliev. Damn it. I had it. I thought I had it. But
Yeah,
anyways,
let's go with the first name. What was that? That sounded a lot
Ba-
easier.
Bakram,
Bakram. I'll
BAK.
go with that.
All right, cool. Yeah, because
Bakram.
last name is
Yeah.
like Murtazaliev. That was like too many damn syllables. So we'll call him Bakram. I hope he has a maybe some sort of American or English nickname like Mean Machine, the way they used to call for that dude. Something's a little bit easier. But regardless, damn, Bakram beat the brakes off of Tim Tszyu. Damn, we weren't. I mean, I'm sure maybe more insiders were expecting that. We sure as hell weren't expecting that. I was basing this fight, I guess, off of Bakram's last fight, which was a lot more difficult. He claims he was going through Ramadan around that time, so his energy wasn't what it's supposed to be, and he flat out said it. If you're gonna study me, don't study my last fight because that wasn't the real me. Holy shit, was he telling the truth? Holy hell. Um, Unfortunately, Tim Tszyu suffered a second defeat, and it wasn't a decision. It was a knockout. It was bad. He was flopping all over the ring. Um, I don't want to take this one from you, Andrew, because I'm gonna let you, talk about it because you mentioned something to me. You and I talked briefly last night on the phone about what was going on here, and you pointed something out about Tim that I kind of want you to speak on it specifically. You said he thought he could just take it and give it back. That's pretty much that was what he
Yeah.
was talking about. He's like, I'm gonna take it and just give it back and give it right back. So, um, sucks for Tim Tszyu. It didn't turn out that way. I've read already from guys like Rick Glazer, who we like to quote quite often on here, that he should retire because once it's beaten out of you, it's beaten out of you, and that was a pretty bad beating. Tim Tszyu himself, after the fight, during the post fight, I think it was like a more of a media scrum backstage. You can see he was defeated. He was looking down, answering the questions. For a quick second, I thought he was fidgeting with his hands, but he wasn't. He was just looking down, answering questions like this. I was like, oh shit, like he's really down. And one of the quotes of that little brief interview was, "What the fuck just happened? Like what did he hit me with? Like one of those, like, oh damn,
Everything.
everything, right, dude, everything." And it's like, wow, he was really, really beat up. So, dropped, I believe, 6 times. He got caught and he just wasn't able to recover. And there was no way that Bachram was going to let him off the hook. He's like, fuck this. This is my chance. A big win over a name to retain my title in the U.S. on U.S. soil. Wow. In addition to Madrimov, right, and fighters whose name I can't pronounce, who had that close fight with Virgil Ortiz, and now Bakram. We're getting all these, European fighters. I don't say, we're getting as if they all of a sudden show up, but they all of a sudden made a name for themselves, right, with these great performances in recent months. Sucks for Tim. We're going to talk about like what can we do, afterwards, what next, because he himself said it. He's like, this is he talks about his fight with Fundora and says, I know what happened with Fundora. This one, I got to figure out what happened. Like I got to figure out what went wrong, kind of thing. And it's like, whoa, that's some deep soul searching, right? So, Andrew, what did you see? What do you think about the fight? And I guess so. Those will be the first two questions. Yeah, it sucks for Tim, but what did you see?
Um, he was dropped 6 times last night. I believe he's been dropped 9 times in his career. And you got to start looking at that side, because I believe when he goes down the first time,
Mhm.
the commentator goes, "This is the third time he's been dropped." So he's
Really?
either been
Mm,
yeah, so
okay.
he's either been dropped 8 times now or 9 times, knocked out once. It's
Mm.
a bad resume. That's not looking too good. Last night, I think what Glazer and people that are looking, pointing towards retirement are looking at, his fighting didn't seem to change last night. That's Tszyu, man. Like I was telling you, Tszyu comes straight forward, kind of takes it and gives it his side. He just always seems to win. His right hand seems to land there before the other guys. He gets the damage points and carries on. What happens on the night you don't get the damage points? You're not the one that's leading in that category, and now you're getting hurt. Do you have a plan B?
Didn't
No
look like it.
fucking
No.
did not look like he had a plan B at all, bro. I mean, this guy is on last leg of power. If his Iron Man senses were like, Mayday, Mayday, he's like, nope, just punching. It's all I got, bro.
Yeah.
This is it right here. It's all I got. Like, dude, back up, head movement. If you don't have any of that, this is a hard sport to compete in, especially at the highest level. And we have to remember, he was competing at the highest level of the PBC. And we all know, insiders know, if you want to throw the insider word, insiders know the PBC stable is not the same that's what's out there in the real world. You can fluff up, you can puff up a record, right?
Mhm.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Padding. You can pad the record.
You can pad a record. There you go. There's a better one. You can pad a record with the PBC stable. Deontay Wilder.
Yes.
Earl Spence. Sorry. Who's the little guy? Who's the little guy who held the WBC title for 10,000 years? The little kid, all of his brothers fight. Fuck, what's his name?
All of his brothers fight. Gary Russell. Gary
Thank
Russell
you.
Jr. Yep.
You got to cough when you do it. Yeah,
Oh,
Gary.
sorry.
You
Sorry.
could.
Gary Russell. Gary Russell Jr.
You could pad a motherfucking record at the PBC.
Mm.
So, I don't know if that's what we seen last night, but damn, Miguel, the guy definitely didn't have head movement. He didn't have a plan B. He didn't, dude, it was bad. It was so sad. His dad comes with a gallon of milk. That's fucked up.
It finally comes back with a cookie. Comes back with a pack of cigarettes.
They're like, Mom said you left for a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
I'm late, but I'm back.
Yeah.
Give this to your mom.
I brought cereal too.
Hey, you come back after 11 years, bro? Damn. Couldn't they say he was in the training camp for that long?
Yeah. No.
Why do they have to make it
right?
sound like he just got off the plane and this is the first time they're seeing each other? Oh, that's a tough one for Tim to go through on this night.
They really are. It's like they might as well be like, Costa left, started another family, didn't work out, and came back. It's like
Came back and then you get knocked out.
Yeah.
That's awkward. Will you be here tomorrow? No, I got things to do. Oh, you asshole.
It's like I forgot the cigarettes at the store, so I gotta go back.
There's another gallon of milk. You're such a
Forgot
dick.
the lighter. I forgot the lighter. Yeah. Sorry, Tim. I'll be back.
I'll call you.
Yeah,
I'll call you.
It'll be 13 years this time, not 11 next time. Yeah.
It's just a tough night, man.
That head movement, man. Shit. Like, I mean, the like thereof, I guess what I'm trying to say, but like and here's the thing. This is kind of one of the questions that I want to ask. years ago, this happened to his pops when he fought Vince Phillips, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He came back, right? He definitely came back. Does that? I mean, I guess we can say it just happened to have happened to his pops. It happens to a lot of other fighters. Some of them just get knocked out and fucked up, and they do come back. Um, are we throwing in the towel a little too fast? Like, is it just like it has happened? It happened to his pops. He came back and it became the undisputed junior welterweight champ. So it's like, well, maybe there's a chance here. Was this a different ass whooping? Because that knockout at the hands of Vince Phillips was bad. So I don't know. Was this the same or was this worse?
He doesn't go down, right?
Mhm.
He ends on his feet.
Yeah.
His son was dropped 6 times and just looked completely lost. Like I said, we all seen it. He didn't have a plan B. There was nothing from his corner. There was nothing upstairs. He just came to throw punches, and it's been working for him. It didn't work last night, and now, obviously, I'm not saying retirement, but he can't carry on like this and think he's gonna fight Terrence Crawford or even
Well,
hell, it could even.
Terrence isn't a heavy hitter at 154. So, like, do you think
If
even
Terrence
he does
hurts
get
him,
hit?
though, if Terrence hurts him and sees that you don't move your head on combinations, that's going to be ugly. I can guarantee you he's going to hurt him.
Well,
You got to
is
move
it
your
is
head.
it is it a big? I mean,
Miguel, you
that's
got
kind
to
of a
move
big
your
if.
head.
No, I get that, but
Okay,
that's a
so
kind of a big
once.
if, no?
No,
No.
Terrence is still right. No, Terrence still got popped. He's not Pernell Whitaker. You know what I mean? He might. Matter of fact, didn't he have 10? Didn't he have a bunch of
Well,
knockouts in
yeah,
a row?
at
At
welter.
welterweight, yeah. Oh yeah, the 154 he went the distance with. I hear you. He went the distance with them. He still put the hurt on the guy. No, I think he'll still. If he fights that Tszyu, if he fights the Tszyu with that type of defense from last
Mhm.
night, I clearly think he stops him. There's no way Tszyu goes 12 rounds with even Terrence Crawford.
Mhm.
He couldn't stop a left hook, right?
Mhm.
It was like he wasn't even trying. I don't know, man. That's why they're leaning towards the retirement thing on him. I'm not, but it was an ugly. He looked very amateur. He looked like a guy that was living off his dad's name last night. Seriously. And in the Fondura fight, it's a great fight, but he is taking a lot of punishment in that one too. He's just standing
Yeah.
up to it. It's an ugly fight though. There's nothing technically pretty about it. And to be honest with you, he has that stand up kind of Terminator in all of his fights, approach in all of his fights. There's never been a moment where you see kind of Tszyu with the bobbing and weaving and hearing them talk about his counter punching or so these are things you just we're gonna have to reassess what he is as a pro. But if you go off of this one fight, no, it's a bad look. What happened to him last night? He looked overmatched. That's another word you could put in there. He really didn't look like he was in that guy's level. He hit him maybe 2 or 3 times. Great. I mean, in the middle of
Yeah.
exchange. But the end of all those exchanges, he either ends up fucking on the canvas or hurt. That's what happens. You get dropped 6 times in how many rounds? I mean, he had him getting up, doing fucking face expressions like Tszyu. He couldn't find himself. That ref in one round saves him. What was
Oh
up with
yeah.
the doc?
Yes. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that. So I don't. I mean, I believe the fight took place in Orlando, right? I think it was in Florida. So
Yes.
I don't know
Yes.
what the commission, what the athletic commission were basing it off this. What were they thinking at that moment when they stopped the fight momentarily and they could put the flashlight in his fucking eyes or some shit, right, to see if he was concussed or doing okay or something. I don't know. You could do that. What the fuck? Since when? Like, if it's not like he's looking at the cut or having some sort of anything. It wasn't like it was some sort of accidental headbutt or something like that, or eye poke or whatever the fuck. I mean, I know the glove poke kind of thing, but it just was like they were checking on him, saying like, "Are you okay? Are you like?" Since when did that happen? Like, you don't see a dude getting clocked in the fucking corner, getting hurt right by the fucking his opponent, and then somebody steps in, and is like, judge or ref, what was it, doctor, come take a look, at this guy. It's like you don't stop it in the middle of the action, right? It seemed kind of weird that they were gonna like cut him a little bit of slack and
Oh, they
maybe just give
definitely
him.
cut him slack.
I mean, they gave him
They
some breathing. It didn't help,
he got
but
he got dropped 3 times in one round. They don't stop the fight. They take him to the corner. He comes out of the corner. They say time and give him additional. I don't know how many. I didn't put a clock on it, but they gave him additional time. That when the referee stops it for the doctor to check him, that's immediately after he already had a 1 minute break.
Hmm.
Hey, I hope Amazon. I hope you guys weren't pitched that Tszyu's your dude, because he fucking blew it for your first pay-per-view. And last night, I'm sorry, that fight wasn't even competitive where you're like, oh, well, no, that was a great fight. At least the Fondura fight was competitive. Problem there, Miguel, is no one watched it because it was on pay-per-view. So this fight, not so competitive, people might have watched it. Ah, damn it. I know I told the party that I was at, I was like, yeah, I told my brother, yeah, watch it. Tszyu, it's his son. Oh, yeah, I'll check that out. Yeah. Fuck. Looked
So,
terrible.
what's his name? There were a couple of people who tweeted some stuff on, social media. I believe Terrence Crawford. This is what he says. Tim thought he had an easy one. Took this dude lightly and was worried about other fighters. Was it really a case of him taking him lightly, or would this would have happened fucking regardless because of who Bakram is?
That's what we got to watch. You got to go 2 fights back. Go 2 fights back and watch it. I can tell you right now in the Fondura fight, I remember him taking a lot of punches. So Tszyu's head movement is coming into question right now. His head movement isn't there. So if you can get past his power, there's opportunity for you to win this fight. I think everyone's going to have that in the back of their head from here on. But we need to know if this was always there. This is something that was just exposed last night. Off of just the Fondura fight, I can tell you, yes, he does have a problem with the defense. So no, I'm going to say it had nothing to do with him being light, taking him lightly.
Yeah, right, taking him lightly.
The guy is a huge 154 pounder.
Yes, he's fucking huge. You see just the broad shoulders, the
and the head.
fullness.
In the head. I don't know. I don't know if it's the beard, but when them two guys did that little face off at the weigh-ins,
yeah,
bro, that was some bullshit. That was not the same league type of head. That sounds terrible. Now that I said that out loud,
this dude's head was in another league.
Woo!
Like, all right. Well,
that
there
sounded
you go,
awful.
More compliments than we probably should. But, yeah. No, but dude, just the size of that motherfucker's cranium, we'll use that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the size, and my dad saw it, dude. He's like, dude, this guy looks fucking huge. How the hell does he make 154? And he's a belter now. He just basically he did what Mazurmov wanted to do, and if I can remember Virgil Ortiz's opponent's name, Borachuk, Sergey Borachuk. Those guys, could have, put the whole fucking division on notice had they got the victory, but Crawford came through and Virgil Ortiz came through. Tim unfortunately didn't, but he, Bakram basically put the whole fucking division on notice. Now it's like, yo, I got a belt right here. If anybody wants to, unify or whatever, it's gonna have to go through me. Damn, holy hell, what a what's the word? What a message he sent out to the 154-pound division. And what do you think Tim should do now? I know he's probably gonna take some time off, right? I mean, he already did take some time off because of the cut, but regardless, he might take more time now. I think he's 29, I think now. So by the time maybe he goes back, he'll be 30-ish around there. I think that's if I'm getting his age right. But what I think the talks of retirement is probably a little premature. We might have to wait until his next fight to see. Maybe he will have to choose something a little bit more lightly, a little lighter of an opponent, and not one of the other belt holders. What do you think Tim should do? Just take time off.
Come back, fight in Australia, the biggest venue you can do. Do it on your own. Take all the ticket sales to yourself. He's got the market still at least to do one fight on his own. Now, if he loses his next big fight, that market's gone. So I'm taking a lesser opponent for a comeback fight, bring it to your home, try to sell out a big soccer stadium or whatever. But I think that can be done easy. I think Al Heyman hella dropped the ball with Tim Tszyu. The trigger should have been pulled on him a fight ago, if not 2 fights ago. They've always had this kid. He was ready to sell tickets in Australia. Don't know really what the push was to bring him over here and to put him on Amazon and all this other BS. But whatever the case is now he has no titles and 2 losses. So, and one of them was ugly. One of them might be the worst father-son knockout loss or defeat we've seen so far. And I'm even throwing the Camacho Jr. when he quit on the cut.
Mhm.
That was a bad look for his dad. We know Chavez Jr. has been kind of embarrassing, even though I don't
Sure.
remember him losing that bad in public. Zoo lost.
Well, I mean, I guess it was afterwards. By that point, like when he
Well,
fought
look at the
Jacobs,
mark.
Daniel Jacobs, that shit was pathetic.
Yeah,
Unless
but
you
someone
remember.
had to watch it. I think at that point was anyone even watching?
No, no, no.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the Marquez. What is it? The Sergio Martinez. Excuse me, the Martinez fight. Right? He didn't lose any. He gained respect for his dad on that night. You get what I'm saying? No, on this one, Zoo. This was in PBC. This is their first fight. We don't know what the viewership was, but it might have been a lot. Dad comes back after 11 years to put eyes on him. Damn it. Damn,
Yeah.
that's a terrible story. It's a story that Katsuya should be able to defend himself on. Why 11 years, bro?
What was it? 11? It wasn't like 8 or
It
something. I thought.
said 11. No,
Oh,
it
was
said
it 11? Oh
11
shit.
years, man. I was like, holy shit. That is some awkward fucking what is it? Vibes to get over. And you're in a big ass fight, you know what I mean? You're like, hey, your dad's here. What? Huh?
Yeah,
Here you
it's
come.
like
Here you
it's
comes
Ricky
the
Bobby. Like,
suitcase.
yeah.
What's up, son?
I'm
Oh
back.
fuck. I'm back.
I'm
You're
back,
never
son.
here.
That's what I'm saying. Comes back with a nice little like it's almost like the cartoon right with the stick and the handkerchief is like he's running away. He's like back like I'm back, son. I'm back.
He
Kinda,
came with the suitcase. It was like he came right out of a cab, dude. He came to the arena with the suitcase. Like, no, you didn't go to the room. What's in there? What's in the bag? The fuck? You brought your clothes? You're coming to my room?
yeah. He's like,
So,
oh, where can I unpack? Like,
where can I unpack?
like, no, Dad. I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah.
But
That was a terrible.
uh,
We'll see, man.
so
Terrible story.
yeah. I mean, they still got time to fix it, but it's a terrible
Every
story.
once in a while, you should lie. I think those are one of the times they should have lied. Something like 11 years. Yeah, right. Seen the dude the other day. The fuck?
I mean, I'm sure they were anticipating Tim winning and like, oh my gosh, after these years they finally reunite, and then great success story. Here comes Tim, getting the IBF belt off of Bakram, but it didn't turn out that way. So I'm sure they said that with the intention of like, hopefully we were gonna get Tim with the belt, and then oh, it's a nice little, fucking Hallmark movie. And then he ends up getting knocked the fuck out. So on that note, Bakram, what would be his next move? I mean, he just put everybody on notice. He's a belt holder, so he has some leverage to some degree. What the hell would he? I mean, who's gonna want to fight this dude?
Doesn't matter. His Excellency calls the shots. He's another one that's going to fall right in line with the new promoter of boxing, Ali Sheikh. So Turkey Ali Sheikh. So I see Bakra signing right up. Look at the other guy is already fighting. The one that fought Terrence Crawford, he's already signed up to fight the dude that fought Virgil Ortiz. Those two are fighting on one of the undercards for the next fight that he's throwing. So we're just who knows where they land, Miguel. Seriously, the guy I believe has taken over the sport. You are hearing nothing but his name now on all these fights being developed, and basically the fighters are like, well, if His Excellency wants it, then we'll talk. That's all you're hearing now. So, sit back and enjoy what's coming, because it looks like we're at that moment in boxing again where we're just going to match the best versus the best, and the guys will come out on top. We did this once in the 2000s when Golden Boy first got together, started. They signed a bunch of fighters and made the best fight the best, and you had a lot of stars come out of that run. So that's what it looks like we're going to do here. Will be no more warm-up fights, His Excellency said. It's all big matches. So I would think this young man, because he has a title, look for him to be unifying in his next fight. I mean, if Terrence Crawford is serious about, and look, we got to bring up the news about Terrence Crawford. I might as well just pitch that one to you, because that's going to play heavy in the landscape really of the 154-pound division.
Mm. All right. Well, we will get into that momentarily because we do. That's part of the lineup of stories that I got. But before we get off the topic, um, the rest of the card wasn't actually half bad. The first fight, the decision ended up being a draw, but it was a very, very good back and forth fight. The card opener wasn't bad. It was quite entertaining. Even the second fight, with the heavy favorite, was getting tagged a little bit, and we're like, oh shit, are we gonna get an upset? And ultimately, the favorite won. But the first two fights on the card were actually quite entertaining. Like the card was damn good. And I mean, I guess when PBC has some crap, we're gonna call them out on it. So when PBC puts on some good shit, we're gonna have to, give them credit where credit is due. It wasn't a bad card. It really wasn't a bad card. And the fact that it was free, of course, on Amazon Prime, which I already have, that made things a lot easier, right? To just know where to catch it. Um, I've read here and there fans talking about, oh shit, I didn't even know this fight was going on. So was there just not enough promotion for the fight? Because a lot of people, frankly, didn't know that the fight was going on. But not that Tim is a superstar yet, at least, or if it ends up happening. But it just seemed like people weren't aware that we're going to have free boxing on Amazon Prime. They kind of dropped the ball there, but the rest of the card was pretty solid. The commentary team, um, it wasn't bad. I don't know about having Keith Thurman on the mic. Did you hear Keith Thurman with some of the shit that he was saying? It seemed, I mean, I don't know if he's had any experience before calling fights. I mean, he's been out of the ring for a while, so
Definitely
maybe they have.
has. Yes.
It but I got to be honest, I didn't like it. I didn't like like, I don't know. He Number one, I didn't even know it was him at first because when I tuned in, the fights had already started. So I was like, "What the fuck is this on the mic?" And then I realized it was him. He has that little bit of a lift going on, so you can kind of hear it through the mic. Um, what did you think of Keith Thurman's color commentating?
Well, I mean, one, he's been commentating for PBC for a while. He's always
Okay.
he's always been a part of their team, but he speaks in third person. He acts like his title reign was that of the likes of the other legends in the sport. He has no problem putting his name up there with the other great welterweights of the boxing history. So no, it's very annoying to listen to him talk. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, so that I mean, that's about all. He has just that to offer, his PBC run, and that's about it. But I mean, Timothy Bradley's sort of the same way, right? He kind of only talks about his
Mm.
Pacquiao fight. Fuck,
Sure.
he'll that and Provatnikov. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
he'll fucking kill you with those two fights on the ESPN telecast, man. So like when I fought Manny, he's like, oh fuck, here we go again. You guys know when I fought Manny, right?
Do you think? Because when I saw him there, I thought, is he here to maybe size up Tim? I thought like, is he? I mean, obviously he's there
They
on
tried that.
assignment, of course,
Yeah, they
right?
tried that.
I figured that was kind of the case, but I was like, why else would he be here? Because I mean, it's not like people are clamoring to have him on the mic. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was okay, but I wasn't too thrilled to see Keith Thurman on there. Um, Overall, for being the first, like now because of the results of Tim losing, whom everybody kind of put all their eggs in their basket for Tim, they are anticipating him to come out on top with a belt, and then this be on free Amazon Prime. People are gonna be like, oh shit, he's gonna become more of a star. So besides the end result, I'm kind of satisfied with the card. The card was fun. The production wasn't half bad. I mean, it's Amazon Prime, and it was free. If it had, I'll be honest, it gave me a little bit of like HBO nostalgia. It did actually. I was like, this is three fights in the card. Okay, this is pretty good, and the fights ended up being pretty solid. I'm like, all right, I'm satisfied. It wasn't one of those like, goddamn, another one of these PBC cards. Because it may very well have happened, but I think had Tim won, I think that would have been the cherry on top for that card. It didn't turn out that way, unfortunately. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the show. The fights themselves, they came through. The free fight, I was digging it. This would have been, had Tim won, it would have been like damn near perfect, right, for PBC. Didn't work out that way. They can put a little bit more promotional behind Bakram now that he won. But I was pretty satisfied with the show. And I know you say you haven't watched some of the other fights, the undercard fights. You have Amazon Prime, right? So you can go back and watch it.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right.
But
So
I
I would
will
definitely,
say,
yeah.
not gonna be as nice as you are
Okay.
about the production side of this. I mean, come on. We have been spoiled with the DAZN, the European walk-ins, the Saudi Arabian walk-ins, just out of this world kind of things. What the fuck was that last night? They're like, we got this bag, we got some wallpaper, just says PBC, you're gonna come out this door, and about 10 yards right that way, and there's the ring. Just generic, saying hi there. Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, what's up? Hey, hey. It was so generic. I don't know. It was like, oh my God. To me, Amazon, they hella proved we got no money involved in this. There's nothing here. This is all Al Heyman. It just seemed very broke. That whole production seemed broke. I'm glad I'm glad you enjoyed the undercard, but the walk-ins were not entertaining. The fight was entertaining. But as far as like making a casual little kid out there go, damn, I can't wait till the next PBC fight. No.
Well, I mean, I guess that wouldn't be the case for, like, let's say, a little boy watching boxing. I'll say brother right there, but
let me tell Al Heyman, the UFC, Matchroom, ESPN, Top Rank, these guys, Saudi Arabia, these guys don't need money to bring in entertainment, right? Entertainment value to their telecasts.
Mhm.
What he did before that, there was nothing on those walk-ins. Bro, that was one of the most generic walk-ins I've seen. It was like a video game and you're playing on the lower level. You haven't made it to the big leagues yet. And Tszyu should have already been in the big leagues. Sorry, Tszyu, that's how you lost? That's the stage you lost in? I could have guaranteed you a sold-out stadium in your hometown. You lost in fucking Florida. It looked like COVID times. It really did. The crowd wasn't big.
That also I was going to ask you. So your gripe is really more so with the
production.
Fact that for a Tszyu fight, like, because this kind of reminded me of like a boxing after dark kind of thing, which for the most part I'm okay with. But like, you think it was specifically like, had it been, let's say it wasn't Tszyu, it was somebody else that we are kind of sort of familiar with, would have been like appropriate for this kind of card?
After
like the fact that it was Tim?
Yes, for the heart that he put in to Fondura's fight, what he showed us that night deserved a little bit more than what they gave him on his comeback fight. He lost in Florida in like how many rows were in that building? 3?
Yeah, I think if it's 2,500 people for
if it seemed like 25, I would agree with you if you said 25 people.
That's 25 people. Damn. Yeah.
It seemed very small, bro. They walked out. I mean, what the fuck? You could see like the ring to the wall. It was like, oh, there's a back wall. What the fuck are these guys fighting? A high school gym? This is. I thought Tszyu deserved way more. I think they dropped the ball on that. I really do. He had a way bigger fan base than what they showed us last night. Then he took an ugly defeat where that fan base might be gone this morning. Seriously. So yeah, no, that the production I wasn't happy with. The fights, I didn't watch them, even though there was no really names that attracted me to watch them. Right? This was kind of a main event driven card, so that's no knock on me. You got to get better fights on the undercard. And it is what it is. It's PBC still didn't. They look hurt of the 3 right now. The big boys are still on the other 3 platforms. So that's what I seen last night with Prime.
So what would you have done then? I think what would you have had, like, let's say this fight took place in Australia? Like, you think
Australia? Yeah, and it was for a title. Yeah, and it was for a title. Not only is it his comeback fight where the dude just fucking bled out half of his body in front of everyone, literally went viral the next day on that fight. You fucking capitalize that on a 2,500 seat venue? Australia was doing fucking ticket sales of like 20,000, 40. I think Jeff Horn got a 40,000 seat venue one time. Like, Australia will show up. Who's the young man that fought on the lightweights all over there? Not Casitas. Who's the other kid, the lightweight who just lost? Cambosos.
Oh, George Cambosos, yeah.
They've done very good putting him on out there. Why the fuck couldn't Tszyu get one fight? You couldn't get him one main event in front of this crowd? That's crazy. No, he probably deserved to be in Australia last night. Hell, do we know that jet lag didn't get him? How do we know that didn't get him last night? Maybe it had nothing to do with the fight.
I mean, so okay, so a week ago, Tim was here in Vegas, which is where I got the footage for the thing. So he's been in the USA, and but from here to Florida is a 3 hour difference. So I don't know when came between here and there, but it wasn't like it was that much of a difference. I don't think. I mean, yeah, he would have been able to acclimate himself to like the time difference if he would have left, with a few days' notice. I mean, maybe, but I don't know because he was here in the U.S. I don't think he went back to Australia in the meantime. I think he was here in Vegas. I mean, he was for sure last Monday, I guess a week from this past Monday, and then now this. So 3 hour difference. Maybe, but I don't think so. I'm
Gotta be weather, could be food, diet, could have been anything. That he just wasn't feeling himself in Florida. Um,
head
so
movements.
hey,
Could have been anything. Could have been anything. Could have been fucking head movement for fuck's sake.
Devin
All right.
Haney, Devin Haney is suing Garcia for not hitting.
so that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna like
He's got a
let me see.
battery charge on him. Maybe Zeus should look into a battery charge. I don't understand the battery one.
Uh, oh yeah, Oscar made sure to include that in his little clapback shit earlier. But all right. Well, so I definitely like the card. It felt like a boxing after dark kind of thing for me. Andrew, not so much on your end. But because we did touch on it recently, a few moments ago, Terrence Crawford, because he is part of this weight class. Recently put out I think an Instagram post or a tweet or something, a video of him in a wrestling room with boys, other guys wrestling behind him, basically calling out Connor, saying, "Hey Connor, get on the mat, Holmes. Like, get your ass back into the gym," implying that he might have, after all, agreed, at least verbally, to a fight with Conor McGregor. Not just a boxing fight. Maybe one and one boxing, one MMA fight. Um, that's what it looked like, at least, because a few weeks ago, it seemed as though he wasn't interested. It seemed as though Crawford said, "Yeah, no, I ain't down to get kicked. I ain't down to get elbowed. None of that shit." He threw that idea out the window real fast, and we're like, "Well, what the fuck? Since when? I thought you were a fucking dog. We thought, we know you have grappling experience. What the hell? We weren't expecting that kind of response from Crawford, and then now we have this. So, did he kind of try to pull a fast one on us there, Andrew? Did he try to do that?
Absolutely worked if he was trying that. I'll tell you that. I didn't. First off, we got to say we were wrong thinking about he pulled out of the Fondura fight for
Mm.
Virgil Ortiz.
Oh yes, yes, good point. Thank you. I want to make sure. I'm glad you brought that up. A few weeks ago, we were thinking that one of the reasons that Crawford decided to allow Spence to get in here and fight Fundora was because there was a possible bigger money fight with him and Ortiz. Now going back and forth with on social media with Conor McGregor, it seems as though that might be the reason. A big money fight with Conor is most like the reason he decided to just let Spence skip the line and get straight to Fundora. So now it looks like that's the case. Damn, kind of feel bad for Ortiz now. Now Ortiz kind of left out in the dark, but regardless, that seems to be the case. It seems to be that Crawford is interested again, or for real this time, in a fight with Conor McGregor, but an MMA fight in particular, because according to that video, he was back on the mats, wrestling and rolling around with, with whatever team he was there with, calling out Conor, saying, "Hey, dude, get out on the mats, get your ass
I
back into the
can,
gym."
yeah, I can guarantee you he believes he already has the boxing fight won. Connor hasn't been in the ring since the Mayweather fight. It hasn't really been on the mat since the Mayweather fight. So
Mhm.
I could almost assure you that Terrence knows the boxing match is already on his side. It's about the MMA fight. If he's gonna do this, this is for all the marbles, right? He's gonna finally get a. We're gonna get a boxer, not sort of in his prime. I know, what is he, 35? So we can't really say he's in his prime, but he's on top of his
Yeah,
game,
he's still at the top. Exactly.
still at the top, stepping into the octagon, facing a legend in Conor McGregor. Um,
And real
the
quick
money,
before you hop onto that, more often than not, at least for adult males, your peak as strength goes is generally in your 30s. So it is in your 20s, you kind of reach like 30, 31. So mind you, grappling involves strength and physical strength. So he might not be as far as like peak boxing wise, like in his mid 20s where he's sharp as fuck and fast and he's got the quick twitch, but strength wise, he's still pretty close to his peak. He's going to have enough man strength. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good selling point.
Damn. Shit. Swatted that down real fast. You're like,
I'm just
I'm
saying.
sure.
Yeah. We all know in boxing, it's 26 to 32 maybe is your peak years. After that, man, you start fucking slipping. But I hear you. It's a good
Yeah, because
sell.
not in
I'll
MMA.
take
In
that.
MMA, they generally be a little bit later. Remember that. So
Okay.
it's not like he might actually be in the peak.
So then maybe point
And
for McGregor then. Might be a point for McGregor. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, either way, that's way bigger money than anything boxing is offering Spence at this time. With Canelo playing hard to get, and really Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz they're not ready for that kind of a matchup. And what I mean by not ready, I'm not saying physically or skill wise. I'm talking about money. There's nothing that's going to generate 100 million per fight. They're talking 100 million per too.
Whew.
This isn't. Yeah, this is a $200 million deal that Terrence Crawford could be involved with here. Connor's been involved with this before with Mayweather, so this is not new to him. But for Terrence, come on, could you imagine the dreams he was having the night that His Excellency told him that that's what's on the table or that's potential what could be involved here? I would think of nothing else but Conor McGregor. I would think of nothing else but ground defense and how not to get submitted or choked out. But but yeah, please. So it's just that's a way bigger fight to go to. I'm excited. Look, I'm excited. Um, I want to hear His Excellency tweet about it first.
Mhm.
If this is something that these two are just putting on by themselves and they're hoping that it sells good, that's going to take away a little from the fight. But if His Excellency is throwing it, we know the production's going to be great, the promotion's going to be there. um it might be on the PFL. If they were,
Mhm.
don't they own the PFL now?
I don't think they own it per se, but I think they have a share. They're a shareholder. I want to
Okay,
say so, and I don't know because so here's the thing. This
because that's
last
where
weekend,
Ngannou fought. Is that where Ngannou fought this weekend?
yeah,
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
yeah, and it was also in Saudi Arabia. They said, the Riyadh season was on the canvas, and they had other dudes who kind of looked like His Excellency. As a matter of fact, they were called that as well. I don't know, like when they were announced, when they put the belt on Ngannou, they said like representing or something to do His Excellency yada yada, and then he's had some other fucking name, and because when he said His Excellency, I was like, oh shit, he's there. No, it's not. It wasn't him. It was somebody else. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know how many of these guys they have, but maybe this guy's in charge of the fucking MMA side. I don't know. But regardless, yes, that's exactly where Ngannou fought, the PFL, and they are backed heavily by the Arabs. Yeah.
Yeah, so and this would be an excellent fight for them to put out. I mean, first they have Ngannou coming on there. He gets a knockout win. He's kind of holding down their heavyweight division.
Hmm.
If they bring this McGregor and Terrence Crawford onto that, I mean, what a strong um, coming out party for His Excellency and the PFL versus the UFC. I think we clearly see at Dana White this week with the whole 5-on-5 comment
Yeah.
that I sent you.
Hmm.
So they obviously know that they're the big dogs, but what a fight to put. I mean, come on, you guys, this is something I've been talking about. The UFC's been scared to do. It's funny how he's now saying that Dana's scared, and he
Hmm.
even did the hashtag Dana's scared to do the 5-on-5 with the PFL. I clearly have been saying that for years that I thought Dana was scared to do the dream match that the UFC always had the money for. It was absolute bullshit to say that this fight between two heavyweight champions, one in the MMA world and one in boxing, couldn't be done. Every bar, every movie theater, every fucking ballroom, and every casino, there's nobody that would not be showing this fight if they actually did it and it was Tyson Fury, if it was Mike Tyson, if it was Vladimir Klitschko, any of their heavyweight champs in the last 25 fucking years could have pulled this off. I mean, Vladimir Klitschko versus, you don't even have to get the UFC champ. What was the first big European guy, big European champion that was from in the MMA? He was from Russia. Not Boss Rutan. He was from America. It
No,
was
he's
another
Holland.
white.
He's Dutch. Um.
How about Emelianenko?
Oh, Fedor Emelianenko. Yeah.
Fedor. Could
Uh-huh.
have been. Could you imagine what him and Klitschko, the numbers they would have done?
Mhm.
Do you understand? The fight was always there. Mike Tyson versus, and I forget who was the champ. That Mike said, "Give me 5 million, I'll fight your heavyweight champ." I think it was Coleman, Mark Coleman. Could you
Oh
imagine what a
shit, that was
Mark?
years ago. Yeah.
Could you imagine what a Mark Coleman and Mike Tyson fight would have looked like on a pay-per-view poster? Do you know the money that generates? Like, shut the fuck up. Like, this never would have worked. Oh, just the numbers don't work. You're fucking lying.
Well,
You're
this is one of the reasons why I think he said that, because he did try it once, and he got screwed over. Uh, he needed it to happen at that moment because the UFC was in a bad spot. They tried doing a cross promotional thing with Japanese promotion Pride. They sent Chuck Liddell over there. He had a little bit of a success. Then he got his ass handed to him, and then that didn't work out well. I think the plan was that at some point they were going to send some Japanese fighters over to the UFC and have them fight there, and that didn't happen. So they basically, if I remember correctly, the story is that they tried to do that once with Pride. At that point, Pride was really like, they had a lot of money behind them, and the UFC were fucking leaking money. So they needed that to happen. They needed that help, basically. They needed the rub, as what they call it. So ultimately, that deal went to shit because the UFC sent Chuck Liddell over there, and although he did well at first, he got his ass beat eventually, and then they didn't send back, the fighters that they were supposed to. Hell, there was a point where Tito Ortiz, while he was the UFC champion, was over there in Japan before a fight, was handing the flowers to the fighters, with his UFC belt on. So that was at least the initial boner to all the MMA fans, like, oh shit, we're gonna have these fights, have this cross promotion, and for whatever reason it didn't happen. He doesn't trust anybody. Now I'm talking about Dana. So now that they're on top, they certainly don't need to do that because they make their own fucking money, right? So I think now he's less likely to do that because of that. Although I wouldn't say that that's a primary reason. I suspect, at least.
the
But I
boxing, the
yeah.
the fights that I just mentioned, Miguel, make 100 times more money than any Pride versus UFC matchup you could bring up in your head. But Lennox Lewis versus their guy, Mike Tyson versus their guy, Klitschko versus their guy, all of these names are bigger. The gate's bigger. The audience is bigger. We are talking about something that combat sports would never have seen. The live gate on some of these matchups, if they were to do it, and how hot both sports were at the times, um, it would have been insane. Even like a Conor McGregor versus Pacquiao or something like that in the MMA. Could you imagine what the front row seats would be when you have all of Asia, all of Europe, all of America, everyone's trying to get fucking front row? Can you imagine what they're gonna go for? No F1 race could match it. No final soccer fucking penalty kick could match it. Just it couldn't. You're talking about two of the elite fucking guys that throw down. The boxing's been the leader of fucking sports for a long time, right? So no, Dana White has always had that. They knew they're smart people. They knew if they lose that fight, they lose a lot of their fan base that night. Basically, anyone who watches boxing would have been like, "Yeah, see, I told you," and they're not going to watch the shit anymore because you guys are lacking big time. And one of the most important martial arts that there is in fighting is the stand up, is the know on how to duck a combo, how to counter a shot, your feet work. All this shit matters. The fucking reflexes, all of it matters. If you lack in that, you're probably not going to do good against these guys that are the best in the world. So, anyways, hats off to PFL. Hats off to Conor McGregor if they do pull this off. They got way more balls than Dana White does. Dana White likes to fucking use people and make a little profit off of them, give them little money. And, he treats them like he treats them. I'm not going to say it. We all know what it is. They fight in a fucking cage. So, hats off to Connor and Terrence for finally putting this to rest. But I got to tell you, Miguel, don't be surprised when the machine of the UFC starts on the MMA world on discrediting Conor McGregor's achievements and discrediting Conor McGregor, who he is right now. They're going to call him a drug addict. They're going to call him an alcoholic. They're going to say he hasn't been real for the last 5 years. All of his fans might believe it. All of Dana White, all the UFC fans that don't want to lose the matchup might go, yeah. This ain't shit. Conor ain't shit. He ain't what he used to be. And I got to almost agree with them that on that side of it, Conor isn't. I know you want to say that they're strong at 35, and I'm with you on there, but I'm talking skill wise, reflexes, punishment physically and maybe mentally by alcohol abuse and all of that shit. You know what I mean? And
the partying
hell,
and all that shit. Yeah.
you seen they had the Coke video on him on the Joshua. Did you see that one on the Joshua fight?
No,
He looks like he's fucking coked out of his mind on one of those interviews after the fight. Like he's like hella looking around. He's like, yeah, man, hey, he put his face there. He gets knocked out. You seen that one? He's like, yeah, he's like he's really
like
erratic
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So they're, these videos, this is fucking 2 weeks ago. My evidence, I don't have to go far to grab some evidence,
yes.
Miguel.
Exhibit A, Your Honor. Exhibit A.
It's 2 weeks ago.
I think the UFC is going to try to block this because I think there's still a connection between Conor and the UFC. I don't think he's completely left them yet. So I think they're just going to cock block this. I don't think they're going to actually
have to
happen. Well, yeah, I mean, I think legally they can because I think Conor is still somehow legally tied to the UFC. I don't know if his contract has officially expired or I don't know how the fuck that works or is that what? Because mind you, he was supposed to fight as early as like December or something like that, and then recently with Michael Chandler, and then that went to shit. And now it looks like Conor is gonna fight, but he's gonna fight this guy named Dan Hooker, this Australian fighter, who's kind of on a little bit of a win streak, but he's kind of up and down in his career. He's around that age as well. It's one of those like confidence builders for him. That's the rumor because Conor was recently, where was he? Damn it, he was at some fight. And he got in. I don't think it was boxing. Maybe it was, but he got in the ring, basically grabbed the mic, and he was talking, all this stuff. And he flat out announced it. He's like, "I'm going to fight Dan Hooker, in the near future." I think he said like by the end of the year. So he's already has, or at least that's what it sounds like. At least whether or not it's true, because I'm not sure if we've heard anything from Dana White himself. So that's the way it looks. So clearly, it seems as though he's still tied to the UFC. I don't think something like that would happen without the UFC getting their hands into the pot.
So. How far does that jurisdiction go?
Like outside of the U.S.?
Hey, bro, when you're fighting in Saudi Arabia, what? Is the UFC sending them over someone to stop the fight?
A cease and desist to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah. His Excellency would be like, put him in jail, too. You go to jail.
Oh, shit. Hey, I mean, you're right. I mean, how far does it go? Like, does there?
You remember when I said? You remember when I said this? At some point, he's going to tell them to stop answering the phone.
Yeah.
This is one of those moments, Miguel, where he just tells McGregor, "Come to Saudi Arabia, and then don't answer your phone. My people will take care of this."
All right. Well, that would be interesting.
It really is.
I'd watch it. Yeah.
I think it's a cool. I don't know the answer to the question. I think it's a legit question on how far does that your contract in America, big UFC contract. We got you by the balls. All right, yeah. Well, I'm fighting in Saudi Arabia, so you guys coming out there to meet us because you got to get through this guy. Here's his name. Here's his business card. He'll be there waiting to talk to you.
Yeah, this guy says I'm fighting over there. So
yeah, he kind of runs shit. I don't know. You might know his name. I think he works with you.
He does. Like, check that next check that you just cashed. Who signed that guy? Yeah,
that $20 million gate that you just had might have been off him. I don't know. Dana, you tell me.
Yeah. So they're all their names sounded like. Maybe it's not him. Sorry, I'm getting confused with somebody else. Well, yeah, that's a good question. That is a good question. I wonder if that could make that possible because yeah. I mean, I'd be down to watch that shit. Even if it's a one-on-one, what I meant to say, like one fight in boxing and one fight in the cage. We're pretty bad.
Let me take it a step forward. Mm-hmm. If the UFC don't start threatening their fighters, look for a lot of them to start following McGregor right out to Saudi Arabia and never calling Dana again. Maybe never returning to the UFC. Or anything. What did Dana say the other day? He doesn't even need Las Vegas. He'll fight in fucking all these other little ass places with no money.
Mm.
Do you think Arizona, a fucking venue in Arizona, is bringing more money than Saudi Arabia when His Excellency says he wants to see you fight? I don't think so. I think not. The
Mm.
UFC has a big problem on their hands. Motherfucking a lot of us sports guys in America have a big problem on their hands. But I'm saying I don't even know if the UFC is going to dodge this bullet of what they've created by allowing His Excellency into the sports world. Their wallet is bigger. They look like they don't have any ties to contracts. For what? They run their own system out there. They did it to the PGA, right? I think the only thing that stopped that PGA shit was the ties that they had to companies that were affiliated with PGA. And see, that's where if you can mess with the fighters' endorsements, then maybe you can hold them to your contract, right? You tell Nike, hey, just drop him. He doesn't want to work with Nike's like, man, you know what? You're my friend. Fuck him. We'll drop him. We don't care. Well, you start getting things like a domino effect like that. Well, then maybe a fighter will go, hey, I can't mess with you. This guy's taking all my other money. A lot of these UFC guys do not have endorsements, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
at least nothing worth what he's paying
Right.
over there.
Mm.
So yeah, there's a big problem. There's absolutely a big problem on all of our hands right now with and I'm talking about promoters, you guys. When I say us, I'm just talking about the promoters of boxing and MMA, of who are they in this new world of Turkey Ali Sheik, because it's his world. I can guarantee you guys, I've been telling you this for months. I'm sticking with it, and you kind of already hear the fighters are starting to lean. They're not even talking about the fucking promotional companies they're signed to anymore. Their first word out of their mouth is Turkey. Their last word is you got to talk to His Excellency. That's all you're hearing, fucking across the board. We have to know what are the titles of these promoters now. You know, that's got to be that's the big elephant in the room. That's the
Yeah.
question. I
What the
think
work
even
is.
De La Hoya and them they probably ask themselves secretly when they're in the room, no mics. They're like, hey, what do you guys think? What are you guys to AJ now? Hey, what are you to fucking Tyson now? You know, Don's like, I'm looking at my retirement home. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
a nice spot picked out. Just waiting for him to offer me to buy this fucking thing.
Mm.
Fucking fuck.
So I can cash out.
I miss
Cash
Lee.
this shit out. I know, right? That's his Bob. He's like, I
Yeah.
got my soup and I'm good.
I got my soup. That's right. Does it have? Yeah, you can fucking hit it out the park. Does it have his fucking soup and he's out, dude?
Oh man.
Bob's almost done.
Well, funny that you mentioned, his Excellency Mr. Turkey. But one of the other topics that I want to talk about was this rumor that I saw online. And again, this is simply a rumor, but this is kind of has something to do with that. Um, I read this on it says Only Full Fights. It's some Instagram page. It says, "Wow, reports suggest that Canelo will move up to light heavyweight to take on Artur Beterbiev for the undisputed title." Now, this is just a post. Who the fuck knows how legit or not legit this is? But let's say, for the sake of argument, this is in any way, shape, or form true. Um, that means that at some point Canelo is going to have to work with Turkey, even though he's been saying he doesn't want to. That leads me to believe that this might be just merely a rumor and no legitimate truth behind it. Um, After Canelo's fight with Berlanga, during the post-fight press conference, another media member asked him if Beterbiev were to have been Bivol, if he would have gone after him. And he kind of threw the question out there, like just kind of, it wasn't like, I think the press conference was over. It was just some guy that was like near the stage and lifted his microphone. And Canelo kind of didn't really answer it necessarily. He was just like, my concentration is on, Bivol. If I go up to light heavyweight, it's going to be against Bivol. So that's what it was. So I was like, all right, well, he didn't really answer the question, but he kind of sort of did. It seemed as though he's not really interested in fighting Beterbiev. Thankfully, hopefully he doesn't. But um, now I'm seeing this rumor that he might be interested in fighting him. Um, I don't think that's a legitimate rumor. I mean, it's a rumor, yes. I don't think there's any truth behind it. On top of the fact that we just talked about, we know that Turkey, His Excellency, is having problems with Canelo, right? They are already, clashing heads. So I don't think that's going to happen. Um, I think in order for Canelo to even fight Bivol, he's going to have to go through His Excellency anyway. So I'm not sure if that's even the plan for Canelo at the moment, because he hasn't made it very clear. But that's the last rumor that I read, that Canelo somehow seems interested now in fighting Beterbiev. Seems like a bad idea, but Andrew, what do you think? Is this any truth to this rumor? You think?
No, because of the points you just made. Look, Canelo, I think if Canelo was asked, do you think he can beat Better Beef? His answer was yes. Because Better Beef looked so slow. He looked confused at times from the movement, the boxing ability of Bivol looked to get under Better Beef's skin. So I think there was room for maybe his words to get taken out of context, like, oh, maybe where he was just saying, yeah, I think there might have been a shot I could beat him. That has no,
Mm.
nothing in his body says he wants to go up there and try it. He's just saying if I did, I seen I seen there was gaps there. With that being said, I think you're absolutely right about the war with His Excellency is going to stop anything from happening. I think when you piss off a man like Turki Ali Sheikh, you have to almost have a public apology to get back on his good side. I'm being dead serious right now. I don't think he just forgives and forgets, dude. You don't disrespect guys with that walk with this much power where they're from. He's called His Excellency for a fucking reason,
Yeah.
right? I mean, come on now. What do we, let's not be play games here. So I think when Canelo's little hand gesture where he went to hold his buddy's hand and then the guy was like, I'm not doing the canal and them they laughed. I think that was like the final straw where, that might have been the one where he's like, all right, you want to totally fucking talk shit, or it went viral. It embarrassed the shit out of him. Um, no, I don't see them two coming together anytime soon. I could be wrong. I'm outside looking in, but off of the ego that it seems he has, both of these guys, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
Canelo and him, I don't see neither of them bending. So, and then I do think that's why he was in Japan. I do think
Mm.
Canelo's looking at, because dude, he's running out of options. If it's not going to be the PBC paying him, who's paying him? There's no opponents. Everyone right now looks to be saying the same name, and it's not Al Heyman anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, Canelo. You're a little late on the Al Heyman train. That was also 5 years ago. They being dead serious, but you were too busy robbing the UK, which is fine. There's nothing wrong. Hey, you either rob the PBC of their weak ass stable at super middleweight division, or you rob Eddie Hearn over there in the UK for their weak ass stable. You got to pick. There's no problem in that. There's no shame in that. But both stables were there for easy pickings. Um, so he will. So they, yeah, I think that's why he was in Japan. I think those rumors are definitely, there's a little bit of fire in that smoke. And I think that he's not talking to Better Beef because Better Beef is totally tied in with His Excellency now. There is no There's no coming back from that one.
Yeah.
We even seen. Okay, I got to put this out there. We seen a report about Pitbull Cruz rematching Valenzuela. Did you
Uh-huh.
see that?
I did. Yes.
Did you see that very next day His Excellency said no, Valenzuela will be fighting on my card. Now they have
Hmm.
Valenzuela tied to Haney. Now they're saying Devin Haney possibly fighting
Hmm.
Valenzuela. Yeah, I thought that was really surprising. But I was also very surprised that Valenzuela was going to go back to the non guaranteed purse of PBC's pay per view plan. What the fuck? You won a title. You went in through all that to go to back to a platform that has no guaranteed money when His Excellency might offer you $2 million for your next fight. Is this not
Hmm.
crazy, Matt? Nah, it wasn't true. Very 24 hours later. Oh, no, no, no,
Hmm.
no. He might fight. Hey, look it up. And
Well,
I'm sorry, that just popped in my head. I know I should have already sent that to you.
no,
But
it's
Devin
fine.
Haney versus
Valenzuela.
Venezuela is on the table right now.
Well, it's funny that you brought that up because one of the topics that I want to talk about that recently Valenzuela left Benavides Senior. You remember, like,
Yes.
so I'm going to
Yes.
read this, right, because this is from Benavides Senior. He says, "I'm just
And
as
who's he
confused as
tied to?
yeah."
All right.
PBC Mr. Let's see here. Where we at here? It says, I'm just as confused as everyone else regarding Jose Valenzuela's recent Instagram post of us not working together. I have not received any communication from Jose Valenzuela requesting to part ways. I I have no problem with him going to a different route or choosing different people to work with. I took Rayo in or choose or before he turned pro and treated him like a son. Me and my sons always looked out for him and wanted the best for him. We worked our asses off together as a team to get where we're at today. Success didn't happen overnight. I know deep down inside he would become a world champion even before he turned pro. So many times it seems as if a title shot wasn't going to come, but I never gave up on him, and the belt speaks for itself. With all the sacrifices I had to do, and not only on his end but mine too, dealing with the behind the scenes BS, fighting for him to get better fights, more money, bigger stages, etc. The list goes on. Jose Valenzuela could have at least been a man and talked to me first instead of sharing a post on Instagram. I am disappointed with his level of professionalism and hope he can communicate professionally. So Jose Benavides
You
Sr. is
know,
like, hold front door, what? We're not working together
you
after saying it. Go ahead.
you know what have made that perfect, Miguel? If he would have said he hasn't called me nor answered any of my phone calls, I'd be like, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
told you, he's already been informed not to talk to you
It's like
guys.
I called him back. He doesn't answer my calls. His answer machine, his voicemail answers, and it's His Excellency on the phone saying, "Hey, don't call him anymore. This is not his number."
you
Click.
you have reached
Yes.
Jose Venezuela. Please call His Excellency at
Yes.
gives a lawyer's number. Yo, what the fuck?
Yeah. So it's funny that you brought that up because look at what happened this stuff's going on. So maybe there's some truth to that, right? Maybe we'll end up getting Venezuela and Haney. Why not? Shit.
Which is a better fight. It's a better fight right now for Venezuela. I love the Pitbull Cruz story. Unfortunately, you guys didn't do shit as far as numbers on pay-per-view. I didn't see your fight carry on that much, go viral that much to say that the rematch of them two could even carry a main event. Devin Haney versus him, I think, makes more money from His Excellency. I see them getting a guaranteed purse of $2+ million each for that fight. Um, and why not? Why not when you're not getting that on the other side? So no, it's a better fight for Valenzuela. Seriously, if he is to beat Devin, your last two victories are Cruz and Haney. Now you're main event quality at this point. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
are in the driver's seat.
And there's not a like considering what Haney has gone through. First and foremost, that ass whooping at the hands of a heavy and juiced Ryan. But regardless, no, you can't take that ass whooping away. It's there now, right? So the punches are there, the traumas are there. Yeah, he'll heal, but you're gonna get a Haney coming back from that a certain time away from the ring with all these other distractions like the lawsuit. He has a pretty good shot. Let's say that fight actually happens. Valenzuela has a very good shot of,
Yeah.
of beating Devin. Um, even more so if it's at 140, because mind you, Valenzuela has a belt at 140, and Haney at some point, right? We all anticipate him moving up to 147, so maybe he's having a hard time staying at 140. If the fight happens at 140, even more in favor of Valenzuela. Say like, all right, yeah, we'll fight at 140 for my belt, and he has a little bit more leverage there, and there's a better chance of him winning. I say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn, it's pretty interesting. Yeah. So that's kind of a little bit of an extra tidbit there. We're anticipating that, but yeah, it looks like Valenzuela left his team, or at least that's what's being said online. All right. So on the subject of His Excellency, one of the other topics we want to talk about was this official ending of a contract that he has with one Eddie Hearn. We can say they ended the contract, that deleted the contract, they canceled it, whatever, they annulled it. I don't know what you want to call it. It basically looks like His Excellency gave Eddie Hearn the boot. That's what it looks like ultimately. Now, whether that's actually what happened on the inside, who the fuck knows? But on the outside, that's certainly what it looks like. Eddie Hearn himself has addressed it online, saying a whole bunch of other stuff. But that is that's interesting. That's interesting to say the least. Knowing um, what we know about Eddie Hearn and his recent string of losses with some of his top fighters, many of them, of course, at this point. Joshua being primarily one. Um, let's
Oh
not
no,
forget
there's a
that we have
bigger one.
other. There,
There's a bigger
other
one. And when De La Hoya gets this information, he's sure gonna have a hell of a clapback Thursday. But they are putting this firing
Mhm.
in the lap of Saul Canelo Alvarez. They are saying not only did Eddie Hearn fumble all of his fighters and getting them all defeats, he couldn't land Saul for his excellency, and
Mm.
that costed him his job. Makes sense,
Mm.
bro. Makes
Okay.
sense. He said, "You know how this man
Well,
works."
explain it. How would that make sense?
Well, I mean, he basically told Eddie, "Go get your fucking guy in line." Eddie went over to Canelo. Canelo said, "Who are you? Go fuck off." You go back and tell him to fuck off. Eddie came back with his tail between his legs. How do you think that goes? In the movies, you usually get your head chopped off. I'm just saying. It's either your head's chopped off or you get your finger whacked.
Yeah.
But
In the movies you're talking about are like the Faces of Death movies. They're
yeah,
saying back
Face
in the
of
day.
Death. Yeah, the mafia movies. You know, I can't. Hey, he didn't take the bill. He didn't take the deal.
Yeah,
He
like
didn't take the
clip his
deal.
knee. Clip his fucking
Yeah,
knee.
yeah. Eddie would have lost a finger at least in one of these movies, bro. So in real life, he just loses his job. Whatever. But nah, man. And then what sucks for Eddie is he was really never in bed with Canelo. Yeah, he messed with Canelo. Yeah, they played around, but they were never together. Not
No,
like him.
so that picture of them arm in arm. No, you didn't. You didn't
Yeah,
find
that,
that.
that was probably just a date. That was a date. He never got the I do from Canelo. Not like say Oscar gonna be all over that. You lost your job on the guy that wasn't even committed to you. Are you serious? He's blaming you for some you. What was he more than one fight deals after COVID, after they get out of that 365 million deal and they had to rework and go to court and all that shit. Eddie has no control over fucking Saul Alvarez. And Canelo does whatever he wants, and Eddie's just his messenger. They're saying
Do you
that's
think? Do you think Eddie might have promised, because here's the thing: the fact that Eddie has worked with Canelo, I mean, from the outside at least, Turkey would see that and be like, "Oh shit, okay, you have connections already. Cool, let's go ahead and do that." Do you think it was also Eddie maybe promising Canelo to Turkey, saying like, "Oh yeah, I work with this guy. I can get you this guy. Oh, okay, cool." Do you think it was
that
him saying that?
that and the fact that he couldn't control him, because I think you're gonna find out that Turkey Ali Sheik does not mess around when it comes to guys doing what he says. Let's think of the New York Yankees. Do you ever remember when they used to say the New York Yankees used to make players cut their beards when they signed? They had to be clean cut.
No, no, I don't remember
No
that. No.
facial hair if you were a Yankee, Miguel. Had to
Wow.
be clean cut.
And
Was
you know
in
why?
what the owner wanted. And he's
Oh,
the
okay.
number one owner in baseball. And if he wants his whole lineup to be clean cut American boys, they're all going to be clean cut American boys. I'm just throwing
Okay.
shit at the wall, but that's what was his thing. And people followed it because you're getting paid the highest, and you knew your chances of getting a World Series ring went through the roof if you were on the New York Yankees. So you did what he said.
Mm.
And I think that's how his excellency rolls. I think when he talks to you, it's more of this is what I have in plans for you. There is no negotiating. There is no, how do you feel about this? Right? I'm worth
Yeah, yeah,
7 billion. You're worth 20 grand. But tell me, what's your business? What do you think's
yeah.
going on in your business side of your career?
Let me take your suggestions into consideration. Go ahead.
I seen you bought a bunch of T-shirts and tried to.
Yeah, you guys have a little screening company there.
Yeah,
Screening
I
t-shirts.
see you bought a music studio. That works for all of you guys. Yeah. So, anyways, no, I don't think he fucking plays around. And I think when he gave Hearn the direct orders to tell Canelo to stop talking shit, to get in here and sign this contract, and Canelo gave him the big bird. That was it. The whole maybe the UFC thing that happened down there in Las Vegas, with him kind of embarrassing the UFC and that, which His Excellency probably should never have gotten involved with. They didn't really do their homework on that one, man. I just don't think he would have gotten involved with the UFC if they knew they were going to look that bad going up against Canelo. Canelo literally defeated a whole company that night. It was not one name that Canelo defeated that night on that card. He defeated the company. One name in boxing defeated the UFC brand that night. That UFC brand was in the biggest promotional event that they had ever thrown, 20 million, he said, and it was at this thing that had never been done before. The spear was going to blow everyone's socks off. This little Mexican over there, 160-pound Mexican, came across the border and beat the fuck out of you guys. That's what happened. Literally after Dana White said he will not fight in Las Vegas anymore, and I think I want to get into boxing. That's what we came away with that night. So His Excellency that was his fault for getting involved with, but maybe even that pissed him off. Maybe Dana even saying he wanted to he wanted to get involved with boxing pissed him off. You know what I'm saying? But whatever it was, Eddie Hearn felt it. Well, because it was all because of Canelo, right? Because I want to say, didn't His Excellency say we were going to bring him down? I could have swore His Excellency said that when he first got involved with the UFC thing.
Oh, oh shit, that rings a bell. I mean,
Yeah,
what was
I want to say if
'cause
we
he had
look it
specific
up.
wording. Yeah. Oh shit, what did he say? I want to say you're right. When this was what before the Berlanga fight, right?
Oh yeah, it was the Berlanga. Yeah, he was
Oh,
doing the Berlanga, and the UFC was doing that card at the Sphere. That's when all this
right.
went down. And I want to say when His Excellency first gets involved, he makes a remark about the Canelo fight, and it just doesn't play out that way.
Oh, we'll end your career.
Will end your
That's what
career.
he said. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Damn.
And then you come away going, "Nah, we want to get into his career. We want a piece of
Yeah.
that action, boss."
It's like so much so that if this guy doesn't get him, we're firing his ass. Uh, it's like Eddie, you're gonna be the one who's responsible.
Poor Eddie. Hey, all I can say is, Eddie, you would have lost a finger or a head in real life, eh? You're messing with a whole different animal over there. So just be happy you just lost your job. You get to go back and put on little bar shows for Matchroom somewhere in England, and pray that you find a fighter that can get you back to Saudi Arabia. That's the only way you're getting back.
Damn, that's pretty cutthroat. Yeah, but that's one of the topics I want to talk about. Like, I never made the connection that it was potentially, that. I mean, of course, the obvious reasons would be his fighters losing, right? We know that
Right.
that 5-on-5, right, with fucking Frank Warren, and then recently with Bivol, and then Berlanga. There was another one that I wanted to bring up.
But remember,
Oh,
Miguel, it was
yeah.
your story that you sent me that gave me that piece of information about he doesn't like people talking bad about him. He doesn't, yeah, he's even pulled credentials already. They've seen credentials be pulled on some of his events. Like, definitely not a guy you want to joke around with. And we know Canelo put out a few tweets about, joking. He was joking on him. Of course, Eddie Hearn got told, control your fighter. And then I talked about it. Not only can he not control his fighter, which kind of sucks. Why we didn't connect the dots is because Eddie really doesn't control Canelo, right? We kind of knew that. It was more like Eddie's doing the paperwork for Canelo, but he's not really the promoter, like, this is where I think you should go. Canelo picked all of his opponents. Canelo told him everything he was doing, marked his own schedule. He just filled in the blanks. In my opinion, that's what Eddie Hearn was to Saul Alvarez's career. He was never in the driver's seat. Not like De La Hoya was. De La Hoya brought Canelo up from nothing, from being just a redheaded kid. You know what I'm saying? That was getting fights on undercards. That's all he was in the very beginning. So big difference. So that's why we didn't connect the dots, Miguel. We didn't think there was dots there to connect. But when you think about the situation, then it does make sense that when it was like, hey, I don't want to see this on the internet, tell him to stop, and the next day it doesn't stop, the next day it doesn't, well, that's it. Who are you? You ain't shit. And not only is he not shit, he has no drive. Matchroom fighters, I'm sorry, when you lose 15 in a row, Eddie, where's the drive in your company? Where's your motivation? Who are your coaches? Who is your scouts? Your what do you call it? Matchmaking? Like, what's going on? Because you lost 15 main events in a row. Something's going wrong in Matchroom right now. Did you get too much money? Was it the $1 billion? Might have been the $1 billion.
Yeah. Too many his friends.
Too many times.
Story.
Too many times on the yacht, Eddie.
Yeah, right. And we have, another Matchroom guy, Jack Catterall, fighting this weekend, right?
Yes.
Again,
Miguel, I didn't think of that angle, baby. Yeah.
We got one more now.
Oh, shit.
I don't know. I'm sure Regis is Matchroom too, regardless. But he's got more money. They got more money
Hey,
behind. Oh, come on now.
hey, you know, Catterall and his people are like, man, Eddie's acting like a dick this time. Why is he so mean? Eddie's on the phone like, hey, motherfucker, listen right here. You guys better win. Someone better win. You know he's changing it up this week. No,
Like, bro,
Mr. Nice Guy anymore.
in a few fucking months, you best believe you ain't gonna get no fucking bonus if you don't beat Regis this fucking weekend. You son of a bitch. That's gonna be the kind of conversation. Be like, whoa, like Catterall's over here like, Eddie, where's this coming from, man? Like, I've had a hell of a fucking summer, you son of a bitch. I don't know if you know this, but I've had a hell of a fucking year. So my job is on the line, so you better fucking win. Otherwise, you never see your kid again, Jack. Like, oh damn. All right,
Jack
Eddie.
Catterall, if you're listening, just tell him His Excellency's already called you. Even if he hasn't, just be like, I don't know, Eddie. I got this call from, it says Saudi Arabia. Click. Motherfucker, don't ever talk to me like that again.
Yeah. It's like, Eddie, who's this guy? He keeps calling himself His Excellency. He leaves voice messages. He keeps sending me text messages. What's going on? I don't know what this means. What does this mean? He said he wanted me to tell you to, like, take a seat or something. I don't know what that means. He wanted me to send you that message.
He said, don't answer phone.
Yeah. He's like, I don't think English is his first language, but he says, don't answer the phone for some reason. I don't know. He says, don't answer Eddie's call. What does that mean? Like, all right, Eddie.
Poor guy. That's got to suck.
Yeah,
the job security's got to suck right now for some of these guys.
Yeah, exactly. And we have, I think they just signed, I mean, not just signed, but they already had recently signed, Enes, right? Or Enes, Boud Enes, who had one fight under the Matchroom banner already. So,
when it gets weird? It gets weird when De La Hoya, Eddie Hearn are in the room with one of their fighters, and the fighter is talking about a conversation with His Excellency that hasn't made it to the promoters yet. Because that's when the promoters realize they're out of the loop. Right? Like, hey, wait, when did you guys talk? Oh, we talked last night. Don't worry. He said he was going to call you. Don't worry about it. He said he was going to call. Fuck. That's when it starts kicking in that you're losing your guys. You're losing your company, really. You're losing the fucking company.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, you and I have talked about it, and you've mentioned it, but I don't know if we ever said it on this show. You've talked about this several times. So if we haven't already mentioned it, what do you think? You already know, but what's going to happen to some of these promoters, or what could potentially happen to some of these promoters, in case we haven't already said it on the show? I know you and I have texted, but go ahead.
They will become basically managers, babysitters to these fighters. Look, there might be something down the line where His Excellency is the company. They own all the contracts to all the fighters, and will subcontract fights out to Golden Boy, subcontract fights out to Matchroom. Say they don't want to be involved in every one, right? They got a kid that they're building. They'll go, hey, Oscar, we'll give you $2 million if you can get this kid some fights over in the LA area, build him up, get his numbers up, and then give him back to me when he's ready. But they will never have control over these guys solely. Do you understand what they're basically? They will be used as fucking just outfits to pad records to get guys back up to a status where His Excellency could then put them on the main event of a Saudi Arabia card. But no more Matchroom promotional company won't be really that anymore. It'll just be like Matchroom and whatever what's the Excellency's company called? Isn't it like 3 letters?
Oh shit, is it? I don't
Something
know.
blank Incorporated will be on top of whatever Golden Boy banner or Matchroom. Because I really and honestly in the future, I don't think Top Rank is a part of it. I think Top Rank will be bought out and gone
and swallowed,
like HBO.
So when I pull this dude up, it says he is the Saudi Arabian advisor at the royal court under the rank of minister and the current chairman of General Entertainment Authority. So yeah, GEA. He's chairman of GEA. That's what it is called. So General Entertainment Authority.
Okay.
That's his thing. It says he is credited with leading significant developments in Saudi Arabia, including contributions to sports and cultural arenas. Wow. All right. Right. That seems logical. That seems very logical. Like, I think, and again, you and I have texted several times. We're at the point where fighters are going to just stop answering calls.
Yes.
They're just going to be like, well, there's no point, at this point, if this dude is the one that's going to be bankrolling this fucking thing, and I think that has been I think to some degree, a lot of like general fans, like more casual ones, don't really know what a promoter does in general. So I don't know. Besides, what we in the inner circles have a better idea because we're familiar with it because of the sport, right? And the way the I guess the format of the sport is, the landscape of boxing. But by and large, I don't think a lot of people know that there's a fucking promoter and that he's got his promotion and he's got his stable of fighters. I don't think people realize that, but us fans do. But they might become
And
obsolete.
invest the how much money promoters invest in some of these fighters. Some of these guys, they don't make a dime, yet their rent is due, their car payment is due. And when you want him to work 8 hours in the gym, you don't want him to have a warehouse job or a fucking Walmart job, and then he goes and trains at the nighttime. When you believe you have the guy that's going to be the next $1 million prize baby, you might pay his rent for a few months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. You're paying someone's rent, Miguel, just so he works out, just so you hope that it pays off at the end. These are the investments that some of these promoters do for these guys, these fighters. So yeah, there's a lot of risk involved. It's not just all, hey, show up to this venue, we're all going to make a few bucks. There's a lot of money invested in this stuff before the money's even made. So His Excellency will have to swallow that. Some of that's coming with this new world that I think is developing here. But no, there's no reason for so many hands to be in the pot anymore. There's only one guy signing checks. Why the fuck do we need so many hands in this pot?
Yeah, and the dude signing the check has more money than the promoter. So it's like, oh shit. Well, if clearly this dude has deeper pockets, he's going to be the one that's running the show and not the promoter any longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn. Well, that's definitely a very I don't know with that shit. Because when I think about that reality, there was a point years ago where I couldn't picture boxing without Showtime or HBO. But here we are, with streaming services, having free boxing and stuff like that. It's going to be difficult to see, to think, or to picture, to imagine, like a reality like that, with the promoters not being the real promoters, and just having that one dude kind of roll everything into, or everybody be under that one umbrella, I guess would be under his excellency. um is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I mean, we've seen it has been pretty good, but at the same time, it's like shit. He doesn't negotiate with anybody. He's got people around him that don't say no to him. Is that too much power for one person?
We're gonna have to see how he does with his first group of legends, right? His first
Mm.
group of fighters. Let's see who comes out of this and where they rank amongst the all-time greats. If he makes this a UFC type environment where everyone has fought in each other, there's really no matchups to be made. Every fight is the most anticipated fight in the world. Then it's gonna get really old. Buys will go down. Look, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I've already been wrong one time when I thought the whole leaving HBO was going to give us more money, and DAZN was coming with this $1 billion, and PBC was making this platform, and they were on free television everywhere, and we had all these high hopes that, man, fuck, there's boxing everywhere. We get to watch boxing for free on Fox now. That shit didn't work out. Didn't do anything for our sport. Actually went backwards. All that free boxing, and our ratings dropped. How does that work? So I don't know what this future is with His Excellency. He's gonna make some great fights here. Like, better be Bivol. You can't miss on that one. They were
Mm.
already made before he ever got involved in this sport, right?
Yeah.
Benavidez versus Canelo, Terrence Crawford versus Canelo. All these fights that he wants to make, he didn't make these. He's just benefiting on having the money to do them now. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't create any of this. We need to
Mm.
see him take fighters' careers, and it is able to bring up matches that will give us a better B-ball 3 years down the line, because that's really how long those fights take to make. Pacquiao versus Mayweather wasn't made in the first year that the two became champions,
Mm.
right? They had to have like a dozen pay-per-view fights before that thing
Yeah.
became this fucking mega fight that everyone needed to see. You need to be able to create fighters like that. And boxing has always done a great job of keeping this ball rolling, of having star after star. You know, I mean, you would have thought, many thought Muhammad Ali was the peak of this sport. Like, you're not getting any, then all of a sudden Sugar Ray Leonard and the Four Kings come. Well, you're not going to get any better than now. All of a sudden Mike Tyson's here, the youngest heavyweight champ, is selling fucking tickets, making $100 million fights like there's no tomorrow. So the ball just never stops rolling. And I can go on with a million other names that broke records and viewerships and everything else. You know what I'm saying? The ball never stops rolling in this sport. That's because we had a good handle on how to create records, how to create interest in these fighters. I'm sorry, if you go to the UFC platform of 7-0 versus 6-0, yeah, fight them because they're fucking legit. Oh, 10-0 versus 10, yeah, fight them because they're legit. If you keep doing that over and over, you're never going to have a 30 versus 30. You're never going to have a 49 versus 28-0. 49-0 versus 28. You know, you understand? Because you're matching them too early. You got to let it simmer sometimes. You got to let it build sometimes. I believe that's what Dana and them always missed, and I hope that His Excellency doesn't go down that path. It's sort of what Oscar did with Golden Boy. You know, he kind of killed his fucking momentum really fast by just matching everyone up. Yes, it did great for the first 2 years of his company, but he killed all of his names because he was throwing them in with the older fish way too early. Canelo being one of them. You know, Canelo versus Floyd. Yeah, you guys did great. Made 20 million that day. In the long run, it hurt your relationship with the future cash cow of the sport. Canelo, he really never forgave you for that payout. And then two, Canelo lost a lot of market that night that he really never made back. Canelo would be so much bigger right now without the Floyd Mayweather defeat. And I'm saying just avoiding the fight, not even going with it. Yeah.
So the point that you made earlier, saying that His Excellency needs to learn how to do that. He needs to be able to create or develop a fighter and do that in a way to where we can build it up 2 years down the line and we have ourselves a mega fight. There's the fact that he knows very little about boxing. I don't think he knows how to do that. To some degree, I suspect that might be why he would want to keep the promoters around, because
Yes.
he's not going to be able to do it. He himself, all he does is bankroll that happening. But rather or not, he's in it and his hand is in there somewhere saying, "Oh yeah, let's put this guy against this guy. Let's match make this guy so he can develop." So 2 years down the line, we have these two undefeated champions unifying the division or whatever. He doesn't have that vision, at least not for boxing, at least. So I can't imagine, you know, promoters not being in the picture, if for nothing else, that at least they have a better handle. I mean, we already know Bob Arum's pretty much out the picture, right? He's on the way out, so it's going to be De La Hoya. You know, it's going to be maybe Eddie, still to some degree around. Frank Warren, of course, but he's not going to do that. He's not going to be the one I'm talking about.
Like,
His Excellency being the one that actually develops these fighters.
that's what I mean by him getting all of those promoters in a room, sitting them down and telling them what life really is. And life is, you're either in this with me or you're out. That's just what we're going to come to. And what I would do is try to leave, be like, Eddie, you do all UK fighters, so you and Frank Warren will be still continue to manage all the UK fighters. I will give you a certain amount of money every year. You will go out and you'll sign new guys. You'll keep guys under contract. You'll build their careers. You'll make a percentage of whatever fights that you put together with the money that I give you. But in the long run, when they all come to get their world titles, when they all come to defend their title, they'll be defending them through whatever I say, right? And that's how he should work it. The California, the West Coast, that's Golden Boy Promotions. Top Rank if they're still there, you know, but that's them two. We're leaving them alone. East Coast, well, who's East Coast? Because Duva's dead, huh? Who does the East
Yeah.
Coast,
Well,
bro?
it used to be PBC. They used to do it on Barclays
Oh
all
yeah,
the
there you
time.
go. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. No, that's it. Just say it's say Al Heyman finally comes to the room knowing he's got no other alternatives, right?
Yeah.
You tell Al Heyman, I'll leave you alone. You and Bernard Hopkins, Golden Boy East Coast, can deal with all the East Coast fighters. As long as you guys have all your stable under contract, making fights, you're putting out so many wins a year that I got guys' careers building. I wouldn't leave it alone, and I think a lot of these promoters would get in line, Miguel. Oscar De La Hoya is more of a fucking what is it called? A social media whore then I think he needs money nowadays, right? So as long as he's making a few bucks off of these guys and gets to stay on in the limelight, I think he's all in. He'd be all in, and His Excellency would have deals for whoever brings him the next big payday. There would be things to get advanced. It's hella sad talking about the boxing like this, but that's just where I think it's going. Um, don't see whatever. I see them having a place in this new world because I don't think he can do the whole thing on his own. I don't.
Right. Yeah. I don't think he has the knowledge.
There's no sport that controls the whole world. Right? Even in basketball, there's other fucking NBA has other outlets in China, in Asia, I guess you would say, in Europe, they have their own other outlets. They have other leagues. There is no one thing that's like, nope, we control it all. Even the UFC, for as big as they were in the MMA, you just said Pride used to do the Asian market. So there's no one person that does it. I don't think he could take all that in because it's a big globe when you're talking about the boxing world. When you're talking about the whole world, that's a lot of fighters you would have to manage. I mean, who wants that job? You keep everyone involved in the loop that wants to stay in, but their days of lottery tickets, I guess, are over. They're now just salary workers, and maybe you get a bonus at the end of the year if you do good things. If your company hits all of its marks, you'll get a little bonus from His Excellency.
Yeah. Damn. I kind of wish, to some degree, His Excellency would do this with sanctioning belts, sanctioning body belts. Like the fact that we have 4, I mean, I don't think we fucking really need 4 on top of the lineal belt, the Ray magazine, including that one, we call it 5. But it just seems like it's so much more convoluted for the average fan to follow. This guy has a belt, this guy's a belt, and everybody has interim belts and intercontinental belts. And
those are the ones I want all gone. Miguel, there's too many fighters to only have one title. We would lose athletes from ego-driven athletes just on the fact that they never got their shot. If you made it, excuse me, getting the hiccups all of a sudden for some reason. If you made a fighter wait 5 years to get a title shot because there was hella other contenders in front of him to get that one title shot, they would be like, no, I'm going to go play baseball. I'm going to go play football. Whatever the fuck other sport he could do, he's going to do. So that's why they kept bringing in titles. I am not mad at the 4 or 5 titles that they currently have in the divisions. I kind of like it when there's a unification and they're legit title holders or are both holding belts. What I hate are the fucking interim, the super duper champ, the champ in recess. The regular champ.
Yeah.
What? Like, get rid of all of that and let's go back to rankings. Number 1 ranked in the world champs. That's all we need. And there should be 4 number 1 ranked fighters in the world for all 4 titles. So you have 8 guys right there. They're supposed to be badass, and you ain't even got to the second line yet, right? Because you have 4 champs and you have 4 number 1 contenders. That's 8 matches right there. We ain't even got to the bottom 8 or 9 of the rest of the contenders on all 4 contender lists, top 10s. So I would start with that. I'm hoping he does that because you're right. It makes the sport look bad. When it's almost like people walking around in the NFL going, yes, this is the NFC champion of the NFC West. Yes, this is the champion, and he's the champion. Like, wait a minute. Who's the Super Bowl? Oh, the Super Bowl champ is that guy right there. But wait, we got another champ. That guy won the NFC East championship. I'm like, stop it. I'm fucking done with the championships.
It's like, this is the NFC West champion in recess. Like, oh, okay. And over there is the AFC East Coast champion. He's the interim champion. Like, I need to look up what interim is.
We think he's going to win it.
Yeah. This guy's the number 1 contender. Like, so he gets the belt. Wow. All right. Well, yeah, I figured I'd throw that in there because I don't know. It's just I would have. It looks as though the intention of His Excellency is to clean up the sport to some degree, right? Tie up some loose ends. I figured I'd throw in the championship belts because, well, fuck it, why not? All right. So one of the last topics I want to throw in here, just kind of more as a filler because we ran out of fucking topics, was this recent video of Jake Paul knocking down one of his fucking sparring partners. And then at some point after the end of the video, mind you, this is edited. So he goes up to the camera, whatever camera's recording him, whatever phone's camera, phone's camera that is recording him, and he says, "Don't charge me, Tyson." Like, don't charge me. You're gonna get your ass handed to you, right? If you come at me like this guy, this is my sparring partner over here. Um, okay, I guess you dropped the sparring partner, right? The sparring partner was kind of goofing off a little bit, obviously, right? He was doing some like showboating a little bit a few seconds before actually getting dropped. Um, but all right, Jake drops him. Doesn't really look where the punch is going. It doesn't even. I mean, the punch itself almost looked like a desperate, like, I gotta get off of me kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? But he dropped the dude. People are kind of like, everybody who's anybody will repost it, and I've seen it posted not just on boxing Instagram accounts, but also MMA Instagram accounts because of who Jake Paul is. It was kind of dumb, but did you see it? What did you think about it?
I seen it. It looks bad in the fact that he's not looking up when he throws the punch. It looks like a lucky fucking haymaker from
Yeah.
from Paul there in a sparring match, but that's fine. My more concern about this, and I'm glad that you're saying that it was all over the internet, even on the MMA world.
Mhm.
My concern about this fight is that it's lost a lot of the steam since being scheduled, right? Not only was it rescheduled, but they rescheduled this motherfucker like 6 months later or some shit. It was like a big gap in between the first fight date. I'm hoping the fans tune in for this. Now, I know it's free, it's on Netflix, but sometimes if it's not viral, people aren't going to tune in. So what I want to ask you is, what makes this thing go more viral? Is it going to be Jake Paul laying out Mike Tyson in a press conference, or Mike Tyson going after Jake Paul? Which one do you think gets more eyeballs glued to the fight? Because I think they
Um,
need that.
well, hold on. I'm not sure I understand the choices. It's Jake Paul going out laying out Tyson at a press conference,
Yeah. Yes. Like
or Tyson knocking him out at a press
or
conference.
Tyson, you're knocking him out. That's
I,
right.
I would probably say Tyson knocking or like clocking fucking Jake Paul at a press conference. Because up until this point, I mean, we know that Jake Paul, because of his attitude, because of his arrogance, because of his youth, his youthful arrogance, he's the one that's a lot of the time sparking the interest. Talking mad shit, yada yada, right? And Tyson's kind of like, I'm already fucking 60 at this point. I can't give two fucks about it. So to see that from him to come out of for that to come out of him to like get into Jake Paul's face or whatever, or they get in a little bit of a scuffling match and he fucking clocks him, I think that will probably
Go
generate
viral.
much more interest than what we're already seeing from Jake, because we're already seeing it. So if what he's already doing, what Jake is already doing, isn't generating the type of interest that they anticipate, or that we think that could potentially be generated if it had gone viral, having Tyson do that, I think, would do the trick.
Well, I believe that something like that needs to happen here in the next few weeks because this fight
Really,
is totally.
but there was interest in it when it first got signed without
Yes,
anything like that. I mean, granted, it got postponed. Why wouldn't it get interest again the same way it did originally?
because it
Like
was
without something going viral, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
because it was announced. It was just the announcement that had it going viral, and now it's been put on ice because of an injury. That injury kind of made it lose a little bit of its steam, right? Like, oh, did you hear Mike got taken off an airplane in a was it a wheelchair or just a wheelchair?
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in a wheelchair. That wasn't a great look for the fight, right? That's when you go, well, yeah, he is 57, 58 years old, right? So that wasn't a good look. So I think it was a combination of just the gap in between the announcement and then the injury that caused the postponement was to the older man.
Mm.
It was to the fighter that everyone said shouldn't be in the ring because of his age. Oh,
Yeah.
what a big fucking surprise! Now he's injured. That's what we
Yeah.
took. That's what a lot of people were saying on that one. So I think that's something they need to make something make this thing hot again. Maybe Mike needs to show. You're right. Maybe he needs to show he is young still, right? Maybe Jake should because I always think it's all a fix. Look, I'm gonna give Jake Paul hella
Sure.
props if he goes into this fight and gets his ass knocked out. I'll give him hella props because that means he's straight up trying to fight the heavyweight champ of the world. And even though he's 57, Mike is still the heavyweight champ of the world. He still has that one punch that I don't think any normal guy can take. And Jake Paul to me is that normal guy. Yes, he's done good in the sport of boxing, but he is not a boxer. He's never lived this sport. He doesn't love, he might love it now. He didn't love it 5 years ago. You understand? Or 10 years
Yeah.
ago. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm
Mm.
So if he is going in there with um the what is the word, action that he's going to really take on Mike Tyson, with the thought that he's really going to take on Mike, no, I give him hella credit for this. But I don't think so. I think it's a fixed fight. So I'm trying to say, how are they fixing this right now? How are they
Mhm.
building this thing up? So I'm thinking, who's going to hit who at the press conference? And I think you're right. If Mike shows that he still has the young fire still in him, fucking
Mhm.
just pisses him off and let Mike cuss a little and throw a hook. Oh yeah, I think everyone tunes in to watch the old man beat the shit out of the youngster. So
Even if that's a fix, like I mean, if, like, let's say for the sake of
yeah,
argument, low key, he's like, "Hey Tyson, like tell me I'm a arrogant little young motherfucker, and then like clock me with your shoulder, some shit, right? Something like that. Like, because I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know how much like a viewership or how many views they probably would have gone if had the fight happened already as opposed to now. Yeah, granted it gets dragged out a little bit, obviously for Tyson's own well-being and whatever the shit he injured. He's not in his youth anymore, so he's not going to be healing as quickly, so obviously it's going to take him a little bit longer to heal, so they made that gap a little bit nice and wide. And I mean, hell, we're now it's October 20th and the fight is still a little under a month away. It's like the 15th of November. So we still got a month before the fight even happens. It just so happens that, around a month before, there's this viral video of Jake knocking down a sparring partner. But I don't know. Unless, I mean, like you said, unless it's fixed or something, which is a very high probability. I don't think they
probability.
need that kind of viral thing to generate the same interest than before. I mean, shit, I don't know. It doesn't seem as though they'll need that to generate because people were interested before. They're already interested in the train wreck. They're interested in the circus show, and this is what pretty much this is. So I don't know if there's gonna. I mean,
Well,
granted, more
all
interest
I'm
helps.
all I'm going off is the conversations that I had with casuals. There
Uh
was
huh.
I haven't talked about this fight in months. Where when it first got signed, I was asked about it almost every job that I went to. It was one of those, oh, you watch boxing. What do you think about the Paul Tyson? Like, oh my God, motherfucker, that does not mean I watch boxing. And your next question is, what do you think about Tyson versus Paul? That means I'm talking to a casual. You,
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying? Those conversations have stopped. Now, maybe in this last month, when I start going to my spots and deliver or go do a maintenance or go do whatever I'm doing on my regular job, I'll start getting these questions. Hey, Tyson and Jake Paul's next month. But I'm just saying what I'm seeing is that shit has totally died. I don't really see anyone talking about this fight anymore. And I'm just thinking they're gonna have to do something in one of these press conferences to get this thing viral again. Maybe just announcing it on Netflix will do the job, but you know, who knows? I think something needs to go down viral. Something needs to happen to make them go viral. That's Jake Paul's his whole thing, right? Is he goes viral on social media. So I think he's working. He's got to be thinking of something to make this fight hot again. Because I don't know if it's just gonna be him dropping some guy at sparring that's gonna make hella people think that he's gonna knock out Mike Tyson.
No, you don't think? I mean, that I would figure because like
If
people
that was their,
people know who
that's what was
Tyson
supposed to.
is. Yeah,
If
because people
that
know who
was
Tyson
supposed to
is, right?
drive the
And they're
fight,
like, this is
then
what Tyson is supposed to do. Holy shit! Now Jake is doing it.
we will see. We will
So,
see.
do you think there's enough time for that? Like trying to look back at when this fight was supposed to happen earlier this year. I forgot the date specifically, but I don't even remember right offhand when it was changed or when it was postponed because of the injury. But we're a little bit under a month away. We can still generate the type of interest, like however much interest was happening before when the fight originally was signed to now. Like, are we able to get that same interest with a short time frame that we have right now between now and November 15th, which is supposed to happen?
Yes, if Mike can pull off a good enough acting job to make it seem like he's tired of this young punk making fun of him or slapping him, I don't know, disrespecting him in a. Remember, they're gonna have another press conference. They're gonna have
But
a final
that'll
press.
be the week of usually. Usually
Of
it's the week of.
course,
So that's like cutting it really short at that point. No, they're like, because that's
that
like
still builds
killing it.
interest, bro. In 24 hours, they can get 1 million views. All they have to do is put on the end of that Wednesday night. The fight's on Saturday. Now they just got 1 million more people interested in the fight. And we don't even have to wait long. We got to wait hours for it.
Yeah.
So it actually makes more sense to do it at the week of the fight, right? To get the interest, and then bam, the fight's
Well,
here in a few
see,
days.
I don't know. That just seems like it's cutting it short because, like, let's say
It's
people.
free
Oh,
on
no,
Netflix.
I know, I get that. But let's say there's a press conference 2 weeks before the fight. We'll just say, right? And people who didn't watch it, because usually press conferences are early in the morning, people are at work, whatever, afternoon, they're not watching it. So some shit happens there that gives people enough time, a few weeks, to really watch that shit, and then be like, oh shit, you hear what happened? No, then I'll go on YouTube and I'll find it, then it generates interest. So just doing it that week of seems like
It'll
it's
go
it's cutting it
viral.
too close. Well, I mean, it may be, but
It'll
I
go
don't know if it'll go
viral.
as viral as it would have with enough time for people to watch it.
Yeah, it'll go viral. I don't know. I all I'm saying is it seems dead right now, and I want to know who you think gets more views. Because I think Mike Tyson and Jake Paul need to sit down in a room and go, someone needs to get slapped at our last press conference. Let's flip a
uh,
coin. It's either going to be you or me. This is WWE shit. I mean, Mike's been involved in all this. He's
sure.
been to WrestleMania. He knows about the phony slaps and the phony pushes and all that.
Yeah,
So
the fake punches, sure.
yeah, this is all. It's all we're doing here. It's all we're doing here. So, and no, it just takes one action to go viral overnight to make this thing hot to where Miguel, if they get 1 million homes tuned in, they've won, right? I mean, they don't need, the bar ain't too high in boxing on viewership. You know what I mean? So Jake Paul's in a very winning situation here if he can just
Mhm.
get this thing viral, one more time to make it hot again. Because honestly, it was hot the first go around. The fight was being talked about a lot. So I was surprised, but that's the kind of magic that Jake Paul has, right? I kind of underestimated the kid in the very beginning, and he's even grown on me. What he's doing to the MMA world is what really grew on me, not what he's doing in the boxing world, because he hasn't even beaten a real boxer yet. Um, so that's all I'm going on. I'm going on who makes it more viral, and I believe it would be Mike Tyson maybe exploding but not getting to him, right? But maybe having to get through a bunch of other bodyguards, and everyone would be like, "Oh, he's gonna fuck him up. He's gonna fuck him up on Saturday night." There goes my speaker. But you get what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
do
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. Do something.
All right.
Man, this thing don't stay on, Miguel. I have
Well,
to
it's not meant for
fucking.
that. I didn't know you were going to do this during the course of the conversation. I wasn't expecting that to happen. I just figured it was just going to sit there last week as we talk.
Shit.
Apparently, we have, like, doing this like dog who's like flying across the room.
Mike is gonna
It's
bite his ass,
Yeah,
bro.
that's what it is. Oh fuck. All right. Well, just want to toss in one last thing for everybody who remembers or has remembered. This weekend we have Jack Catterall taking on Regis Prograis. It is going to be on the zone, so I think it's going to be early from the UK. So chances are it's going to be early. We might have to catch the replay later on that evening, but that is one of the other bets on Andrew's parlay. So definitely, something that we're gonna take a lot of interest in. And I was gonna watch it anyway, of course, because I do work in Saturday mornings and I do have access to watching fucking fights in the morning. So I'm gonna watch it anyway. But of course, I'm gonna have good buddy Andrew in mind. Hopefully, we're rooting for Regis, by the way, right? That's who we have.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We have a Regis.
Yes.
All right.
It's an Eddie Hearn. It's an Eddie Hearn matchup, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big negative for Catterall right there. Um, he's going up against an American where Jack, we've really only seen him shine versus um,
Taylor. Josh
Josh
Taylor.
Taylor. Josh Taylor, who then came to America and didn't have a lot of success. So that's what I really went off on Prograis. Hopefully, Regis has one more great fight in him. Um, Pull this one off, go over there, get the victory, and come back to America, come back to the States. So yeah, Jack, there's a lot of proving still for Jack Catterall, in my opinion. And I remember, guys, I didn't really have him beating Josh Taylor.
Yeah.
Sorry, they were close fights, but I didn't have him beating him like everyone else did. So I was never really over the fence on, oh yeah, Catterall's the next big thing in the junior welterweights. No, he's a contender. Regis a contender. Let's go. And I think Regis has the better resume. He's been in better opposition, has had success against better opposition. So why not? And Eddie Hearn fucks up a lot.
Yeah. Uh, wouldn't that be crazy if like Catterall like deliberately throws the fight so he can go with fucking with His Excellency and be like, all right, I'm dropping the belt so I can go over here with this guy, like another fucking matchroom fighter losing. All right, well,
Well, we're gonna start seeing faces change. Eddie, Bernard, Oscar, when their fighters start talking about him, let's watch the background. Let's see how the promoter's faces change. Before it was all smiles. Let's see if they're still smiling here at the end of this year. Like, man, we
yeah,
keep bringing up his name for. Oh God.
yeah. It's like, what do you like him or something? Go fuck him then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why don't you just go with him? I know you
yeah.
want to be with me.
Have him go take you out on a date. Fuck, have him
Have
pick
him
you up then, bitch.
pay your fucking rent.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he will, trust me.
Oh, yes, he will.
Oh shit! All right. Well, that concludes our show for this evening. Thank y'all once more for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us ramble about the stuff. Make sure to tune in to DAZN this weekend to catch Catterall and Regis, and we'll have plenty to talk about. Let's see what happens this week in the boxing world with a lot of things. And hell, we'll see. Maybe we'll get some Tim Tszyu numbers and see like who did tune in to Amazon Prime.
Oh
See
yeah.
how good that viewership did. I don't know if it's different. I mean, obviously it's different than pay-per-view numbers, right? Obviously, but we don't know how that works. I don't know shit about ratings in that sense, but we'll see how many people tuned in, streamed the fight, and then hopefully they'll give us some sort of numbers. PPC is synonymous for not presenting that information and making it public, so who the fuck knows? But regardless, we'll see that in the near future. Thank you all once more for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll be back next week. So see you guys next week. You have yourself a good one. Peace.